Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are diving into a really mind-bending new theory about the cosmos. It challenges the fundamental picture we have of the universe, suggesting that galaxies aren't just drifting apart. They're locked in a perpetual, incredibly complex dance.
You've heard the classic analogy, right? We all have. The universe is a big loaf of raisin bread baking in the oven. The galaxies are the raisins, and as the dough expands, all the raisins just move away from each other. It's a really neat, tidy, and kind of simple picture of how it all works.
But what if that simple image is, well, just too simple? What if instead of a clean, orderly expansion, the universe is actually a much more dynamic, almost chaotic place, where galaxies are constantly being pushed, pulled, and repositioned? That's the huge question we're digging into.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this new idea, we've got to first do a quick refresher on the model it's challenging, our standard cosmic recipe, which was built over 100 years of some absolutely incredible discoveries.
This whole journey really kicked off in the early 20th century. First, Vesta Slipher noticed that, hey, galaxies seem to be moving away from us. Then, in 1929, Edwin Hubble comes along and proves that the farther away a galaxy is, the faster it's racing away. This discovery was the bedrock for models of a smooth, uniform universe, which eventually got tweaked into our current gold standard, the Lambda CDM model, which even accounts for dark energy speeding everything up.
So the central concept here is what we call the Hubble flow. In this picture, galaxies are just passive passengers. They aren't actually flying through space. No, space itself is expanding between them, carrying them along for the ride. It's exactly like drawing dots on a balloon and then blowing it up. The dots get farther apart, but they haven't moved on the balloon's surface.
Now, for decades, this model has been amazingly successful. It works. But as our telescopes have gotten more and more powerful, we've started to see some inconsistencies. Some little cracks are starting to show in this beautiful picture.
And all these little observations bring us right back to that huge question. What if reality is just a lot more messy? What if galaxies aren't just passive little dots on a balloon after all?
And look, we're not talking about minor details here. We're seeing entire clusters of galaxies moving in ways that are definitely not uniform. The huge empty regions between them, the cosmic voids, they seem to be drifting. And the giant filaments of the cosmic web that connect everything, we see them bending and twisting. It all points to some kind of motion that's a lot more complicated than a simple outward push.
So, to explain all these weird observations, a totally new framework has been put forward. And it's a fundamental shift in thinking. It wants us to move away from the idea of simple recession and toward a much more dynamic idea, displacement. It's officially called the theory of Galactic Displacement Positional Dynamics, or GDPD theory for short. And its core idea is that galaxies aren't just receding. They are being actively and continuously shifted in their position by the very evolution of the space-time all around them. This chart really nails the difference. On the one hand, you have the standard model. Galaxies are passive, the expansion is uniform, and their paths are straight lines. Pretty simple. But this new GDPD theory says it's way more interesting. It's about active displacement, driven by dynamic shifts in spacetime, which results in these incredibly complex, curved paths for every galaxy out there. So this is the absolute key concept, galactic displacement. It isn't just about things getting farther apart. It's about things being constantly relocated, sideways, diagonally, in all sorts of directions at once, all because the cosmic fabric itself is stretching and warping unevenly. So you're probably asking, what's causing all this constant shuffling? Well, the theory breaks it down into a mix of interacting forces that are happening on both the grand cosmic scale and on more, local levels. This theory points to four main drivers. First, the expansion of space-time just isn't perfectly smooth. Second, you have massive structures like galaxy clusters creating powerful gravitational currents that bend the paths of other galaxies. Third, that mysterious push from dark energy, it might not be perfectly even everywhere. And finally, you throw all of that into the mix and you get a constant multidirectional drift for everything. Here is a fantastic way to think about it. Picture the universe as a vast ocean. The overall expansion, driven by dark energy, is like the main ocean tide, pushing everything apart. But within that tide, the immense gravity of galaxy clusters and filaments creates powerful local whirlpools and currents. So a galaxy's real path through space is a combination of that overall tide
and all these local currents pushing and pulling it around.
So when you put all of this together, the implications are just profound. It paints a picture of a cosmos that is so much more alive and dynamic than we ever really imagined.
What this theory suggests is that our map of the universe is never final. It's literally being redrawn moment by moment. Every single galaxy is perpetually updating its own coordinates in a never-ending process. Absolutely nothing is ever truly static.
The author of the theory, Dr. Mario Arturo Rizzi-Strada, summed it up perfectly. He said, and I'm quoting here, "Galaxies do not simply expand outward. They constantly shift, relocate, and reposition across a multidimensional mosaic of cosmic motion." I mean, what a phrase. A multidimensional mosaic of cosmic motion. It's just a beautiful, dynamic way to see it.
So, what is the big takeaway here? I think it's this. The universe isn't some static photograph that we're just slowly watching develop. It's a living, breathing, constantly changing masterpiece, and we're only just now beginning to appreciate the incredible complexity of its brushstrokes.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating final thought to chew on. If the position of every single galaxy is constantly in flux, always being reshuffled by this incredible cosmic dance, what does that mean for our goal of mapping the universe? How can you possibly create a definitive map of something that just refuses to stand still? That's a question that is going to keep astronomers very busy for a very, very long time. Thanks for watching.